So question 3 asks graph the log of f of x, half log x minus 4. So to start that, to start the graphing, I did y equals just log x. I found the points, just a few points for x. I found 1 and 10, and the corresponding points would be 0 and 1. Using mapping notation, I then found y equals half log x minus 4, subbing in the points negative 4 and negative 3.5 for the y values, with the corresponding x values still being 1 and 10. From there, I switched my y and my x, and that's how I got the negative 4. And I just subbed it in using mapping notation. So there's going to be a vertical asymptote on the y-axis still, because there's no translation left or right. So I use this to find how to do my graph. I then graphed y equals f of x, so what we were supposed to graph here. A asks graph y equals x on the same grid. So y equals x would be this dotted line across here, which I drew, which intersects through at point 0, 0 and goes through. Has some key points, 2, 2, 4, 4, negative 1, so forth. B said graph the inverse by reflecting y equals x. So to graph the inverse, this is the inverse here. I found the main point, not the main point, I found a main point, which would be negative 4, 1, let's say, and I switched the y and the x values to find the inverse. So my new inverse graph here, the inverse function, would have an x value of negative 4 and a y value of 1, rather than this one that had a negative 4 y value and a positive 1 x value. Question C was to determine the domain and range. So the domain is the domain and range of the inverse. So the domain is x is all real numbers. X is an element of all real numbers, but x is less than negative 3. So as you can see here, it's all x values less than negative 3. The range is y is an element of all real numbers. Y is greater than 0. So there's an asymptote here at 0. So it's all y values greater than that. And the equation of the asymptotes, there's a vertical asymptote at x equals negative 3. So right here, vertical asymptote. And there's a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. Right along the x-axis is an asymptote. Question D said determine the equation for the inverse function. So what I did was I did y equals half log 10x to the negative 4. And I switched my y and my x. I then rearranged. I brought the 4 to the other side, so I have x plus 4 equals half log 10 to the times y. I then moved the half into the exponent, so it would be x plus 4 equals log 10y to the half. Now that I both had, and then I put them both to 10, so I had 10x plus 4 equals y to the half, and I rearranged. I found my 10x times 10,4, I broke that up, equals the square root of y, which gives us 10,000 times 10x equals square root y. From the squared of this side, I moved to the other side, and my answer turns out to be the equation of the inverse function is 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, so 1 100 million, 100 million times 10 to x. Right here. So this is my equation. Times 10 to the power of 2x.